Brothers and sisters, hope all are safe and sound, and hope we can collectively beat this challenge. My colleague and dear sister, Ms. Iman Jassim, forwarded me a beautiful white paper published by Mckinsey and Company titled Leadership in a Crisis, Responding to the Coronavirus Outbreak. 5 behaviors and accompanying mindsets that can help leaders navigate the pandemic. Now please do read it. In this video, I've prepared a brief summary that will give you an overview of this highly impactful paper. It starts by saying that recognizing that a company faces a crisis is the first thing that leaders must do. They have to overcome the normalcy bias, which can cause them to underestimate both the possibility of a crisis and the impact that it could have. And once leaders recognize a crisis, they can begin to mount a response, but they cannot respond as they would in a routine emergency by following procedures and plans that had been drawn up in advance. During a crisis, effective responses are largely improvised. And in this white paper, they suggest 5 such behaviors and accompanying mindsets. The first one, organizing to respond to the crises, the network of teams. Now, during a crisis, leaders must relinquish the belief that a top-down response will suffice. In routine emergencies, this might work, but in crises characterized by uncertainty, leaders face problems that are unfamiliar and poorly understood. And to promote quick problem solving and execution under these situations, leaders have to organize a network of teams. A network of teams consists of highly adaptable, flexible assembly of groups which are united by a common purpose. And in many cases, the network of teams will include an integrated nerve center covering 4 important domains: workforce protection, supply chain stabilization, customer engagement, and financial stress testing. And a leader should foster collaboration and transparency across the network of teams. One way they can do this is by distributing authority and by sharing information. Another very crucial part of the leader's role is promoting psychological safety so that people can openly discuss ideas, can debate, can question, and even disagree without fear of repercussions. Point number 2, elevating leaders during a crisis. Just as an organization's senior executives must be prepared to temporarily shift some responsibilities from the command and conquer hierarchy to a network of teams, they must also empower others to direct many aspects of their organization's crisis response. This involves granting them the authority to make and implement decisions without having to gain approvals. Well, one important function of senior executives is to quickly establish a system for decision making so that accountability is clear and decisions are made by appropriate people at different levels. And at the start of the crisis, of course, the senior leaders may have to appoint decision makers to direct the crisis response, but as the crisis evolves, naturally new response leaders will emerge to the top. Point number 3, making decisions amid uncertainty. The need to pause to assess, anticipate, and then act. Well, in practice, this means frequently pausing from crisis management, from firefighting, to assess the situation from different points, to anticipate what might happen next, and then acting. The pause, assess, anticipate, act cycle should be ongoing, for it helps leaders maintain a state of calm and avoid overreacting to new information as it comes in. While some moments during the crisis will call for immediate action where you don't have any time to assess or anticipate, leaders will eventually find occasions to stop, breathe, reflect, and think ahead before making further moves. Point number 4, this is something that I find is very special, demonstrating empathy to deal with a human tragedy as a first priority. Well, in this kind of a crisis, people's mind turn first to their own survival and other basic needs. Will I be sickened or hurt? Will my family be? What happens then? Who will care for us? Well, leaders shouldn't assign communication or legal staff to address these questions. A crisis is when it's most important for leaders, and let's stress this, to uphold a vital aspect of the role, making a positive difference in people's lives. Point number 5, and the last point, communicating effectively, maintaining transparency, and providing frequent updates. Well, crisis situations, leaders often hit the wrong notes. Time and again, we see leaders, taking an overconfident, upbeat tone at the early stages of a crisis and raising stakeholder suspicions about whether they really know how well they're handling the crisis. So authority figures are also prone to suspend announcements for long stretches while they wait for more facts to emerge and decisions to be made. So be clear on what you know and what you don't know, and what you're going to learn more. Thoughtful, frequent communication shows that leaders are following the situation and adjusting the responses as they learn more. This helps them reassure the stakeholders that they're confronting the crisis effectively. This pandemic is testing all leaders of companies and organizations in every sector across the world. Its consequences could last for long and present greater difficulties than anyone anticipates. This prolonged uncertainty is all the more reason for leaders to embrace these 5 practices described in the article. Hope you found it useful. Please read the article from Mckinsey and Company for more details. Thank you.